Welkom terug. Ek gesels vandag met Brad Joyce en hy is die direkteur van besigheidsontwikkeling by Neptun Safety Footwear. Brad, welcome to GROOTplaas.
Thank you very much. It's good to be on the show.
Well, a fact is a farmer can't farm safely if he doesn't have his safety footwear, especially in agriculture. Who are you guys, but more specifically, why the focus on this type of safety?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, so we are a manufacturer of safety footwear and gumboots. We've been around since 1977, so we've been making gumboots for quite a while. You know?
Wow.
And it started out as just a general purpose gumboot, just with no toe cap, no safety. And then as we've evolved and we've gone into more safety standards, like we've adopted from European standards, we found ourselves going into the safety side of things, so adding toe caps and midsole protections for your shoes. And so we found that obviously in the agricultural industry there isn't just a need for a general purpose gumboot just to keep water off your feet. There's actually a lot of danger when you're working with heavy equipment, cattle carcasses and things like that. So we've got a range of gumboots, from kiddies gumboots all the way to men's gumboots, that are giving you absolute protection on your toes, on your midsoles, and obviously there's things that we've developed over the years to bring into innovation and bringing in more features that we don't really see in the South African market, and that's kind of been setting a standard for safety footwear in the industry.
So for somebody who might not know, I mean, if you look at a shoe, you look at a shoe and you don't I mean, especially these days, you can't even see that it's a safe, I mean, it's sometimes really beautiful shoes.
Yeah.
So what consists of a normal shoe and a safety shoe? And you did mention but just go a little bit more in detail. What are the features of a safety boot or a safety gumboot?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, you know, we're trying to make shoes look a little more stylish these days.
We are grateful for that.
You know, farmers and people want to walk around and look good in their shoes, you know. So it's hard to identify from the outside what is a safety shoe, but when we dissect it and we look at what components we use to construct the boot, we've actually got toe caps that go inside the boots that you won't see. You will feel them, but they're there to obviously add all the protection that you need. You know, so we've got polycarbonate toe caps. So generally, people would think of a toe cap as a steel toe cap.
Absolutely.
You know, and we've moved away from steel and we've gone to a polycarbonate toe cap. And the reason why we've done that is because
the weight.
It's weight, it's lighter,
Yeah.
And one of the big things, especially in South Africa, or if you're working in hot conditions, I mean, just being here this week, we're feeling the temperature, you know, during the day.
Yes.
Steel absorbs a lot of heat, and when that starts to get hot, it makes your feet sweat, and it becomes uncomfortable. So as well as we're trying to make the boot look nice, we're also trying to make it a lot more comfortable for guys that are wearing it for an eight-hour day, you know.
Yeah. And
so these toe caps are all components that go in the safety shoe when we're manufacturing them. And then we've also added things like steel plates and then anti-penetration midsoles. So if you're standing on sharp nails or sharp objects or anything that can actually penetrate through the bottom of the shoe, you're going to get full protection from that in our safety shoes.
That's really amazing, because especially when it comes to a farmer, you know, I think at 4:15 they put on their shoes, and tonight at 9:30, 10, 11 they take them off for the first time. So I'm very aware of it can't be uncomfortable. That is obviously the thought process behind innovation for you guys, because I'm wondering now, how does innovation look for you?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's the comfort side of it, which we try really hard to get a balance of making sure that the boot is actually fit for purpose while maintaining that comfort. But the innovation that we bring to the industry is a little bit more in depth. Our big focus is, one of our big focuses is mining industry. And when there's an injury, whether it's in agriculture or mining or construction, your toe cap gives you protection for your toes. And we often forget that we've got a metatarsal as well. And so the metatarsal is the bone that runs along the top of your foot. And if something falls on your foot, it's going to break your metatarsal. Yeah. So we've developed a metatarsal protector. So that's our innovation. And we've got a patent on that. And that's kind of what set us apart from the rest of manufacturers and other brands out there, you know. And so what that does, that gives you much more protection to the entire foot, not just your toes. You know, it's not that glamorous, doesn't look great.
That's okay.
But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, is it worth damaging your foot
Yes.
or looking good?
Yeah.
You know, so we do try and find a balance. If you have a look at our stand, you'll see some of the products that we've got on there. And it's always an eye catcher. People walk up to the product and go, "What is this? It looks like it should be on the moon," you know. But once we explain it to them and they get an understanding, they go, "Wow, I wish I had this when I got injured a month ago or 2 weeks ago," you know. So that's our innovation that we bring to the safety footwear, and we're always looking for new ideas. One of the things we do as a company and as a brand is we get feedback from customers. You know, so we go out and we spend time with end users and see how do they work, what are the environments that they're working in, and see what are the hazardous things that we could maybe implement into our product to try and bring that innovation to make them a little bit more protected in the field, you know.
When it comes to regulation, and I'm just very curious about this because I don't think I've ever read up on it, is in the agricultural sector, is there any regulation that forces farmers and farm workers to wear safety footwear, or is it purely I want to protect myself? What's the strongest thing?
For sure. So I think it actually comes back to the manufacturer rather than the end user. So we have to comply. So if we are saying that we are giving you a product that's set for
that's got the word safety in it.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's pressure.
Yeah. So we've got to comply to that. So we certify all of our products, and it's in multiple certification classes. So we do America, we do European, we do Australia, New Zealand, and obviously the South African falls under the European standards. But if a farmer wants to wear a safety product, he has to have a certification for that product. In a case of an injury and something goes wrong, we're protected as a manufacturer to say that we've complied to the safety standards and the manufacturing process of it. And it also guarantees the end user that they're putting on a product that's actually been tested, you know, so they can feel safe in it, and it's not just something we've conjured up to say, well, this looks nice and it should protect you if something falls on your foot, you know. So we're seeing a lot more of the global standards being adopted in South Africa, where you're working in hazardous conditions, and I'm pretty sure that farmers and businesses will be audited from time to time from a health and safety point of view to say, well, are you wearing the correct PPE, you know? And that's becoming more popular in the industry that we're dealing in.
I think if we can just go to the farm, let's put ourselves on the farm. What are some of the scenarios on a farming environment that would consist that you need safety wear, that safety footwear, just practically?
So generally the first thing guys would need is a waterproof boot. You know, generally guys are working in wet and you know, muddy conditions. So our gumboot range offers that for the farmer, and that just gives you your basic waterproof to keep your feet dry so you don't damage your leather shoes. And then when you go into the more dangerous parts of the farm where you're working with cattle, then you're going to move on to our steel toe cap gumboots, so your toes are protected, or if you're working with farming equipment. And then for the guys that don't need a waterproof boot, that you'll move to our safety range, our leather industrial shoes. And that's going to be a good locally made quality product from us in Durban. And that's going to give you full toe safety and midsole protection.
When we go back to the humble beginnings, when the brand started, was agriculture always a focus? Was it the main focus, or did it just gradually evolve? I know you guys obviously serve the mining industry, but how big is your footprint in agriculture?
So in the beginning, I think it just started off as a brand with doing kiddies boots and ladies boots, and I think the market actually created the demand for us to move into the agricultural sector, which obviously brought in brands like Shorva, brands like Marina, and our Stemela brands, you know, and that was I think the pinnacle point where the company decided, you know what, we actually need to develop product for the guys that are asking for it, you know, and that's kind of been our DNA. So people ask for things from us often, and if it's within our means, we will then look at it and say, no, there's a demand for it, and the South African guy needs this product, and we'll develop it. So that's how we kind of got into the agricultural sector, you know, and it's become a huge part of our business, you know. We travel the entire country servicing all the co-ops, all the distributors. So we as a manufacturer, we don't sell directly to end users, but we work with our distribution network to try and service the end users, you know. And it's been an incredible journey.
Do you think your brand is big enough that you can just now sit back and say, okay, we are doing, or is there a 10-year, a 5-year or a 10-year vision? Because obviously, like you say, the needs change. So can you plan ahead for those change, or do you take it in the moment?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer, hey?
But I think you're the right person to answer this, to be honest.
You know, I think we do look at a 5 and a 10-year plan to see where we're going as a business. Obviously, I think it's always a responsible thing to do. We work with the market. The market's always changing. There's always new innovation, and there's always new standards that are being set. I think for us, where our vision lies mainly is, what is it doing for the local economy in South Africa?
Absolutely.
You know, footwear is quite a big industry in South Africa in terms of manufacturing.
Yes.
And for us, we want to try and build the brand so that we keep the footwear industry alive. We're seeing that the industry is slowly dying, if I can say that a little bit. And we need to obviously promote that and talk to people about supporting local brands, you know. And I think our biggest fear is that what happens to the generation after us, you know, because you don't just lose a brand, you lose the skills, you lose employment, and obviously that affects the entire country, you know. So that's kind of where our vision is to try and stimulate the local economy and provide more jobs for people at the end of the day, you know, and our brand will go with that.
And the wonderful thing is, you know, we in South Africa, we've got the knowledge here. We've got the labor force. I mean, if you look at our, you know, the joblessness. And so we can do it here.
Absolutely.
Do you also feel that?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's, I mean, KZN is a huge hub for footwear manufacturing. And if you drive around KZN, every single corner there's a guy making shoes somewhere here and there, you know. And it's incredible to see, you know. And if we can continue that and develop the skills, that'll go on to the next generation and the next generation, you know. And it's always surprising to me when we travel abroad and we see South African brands and we're like, wow, we didn't realize that we make such good shoes in South Africa.
That they wanted.
Yeah, you know, so it's an incredible thing.
That's really amazing. Any last thought from your side?
Yeah, we've just been working on a really cool collaboration with the brand Veiligheidsskoene. We've developed a ladies Chelsea boot, and that's perfect for ladies because they're tired of wearing the all big bulky gum boots. You know, and we launched it at Nampo, and it's going really well, and you should check it out.
Well, I can't wait. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, guys.